Hey, what's up, guys? And welcome to the very first episode of Mr. Millennial's Revenge, a New Haven Jazz Underground podcast. I'm your host, Nick DeMaria. This is a show where I get to have conversations with some great musicians about their work, what they're up to, and their thoughts about this, that, and the other thing. So I'm really excited to get this started and hope that you can join as often as we have a show and continue to be a part of the scene here in New Haven, Connecticut. If you would like to be a sponsor of our show, please join at patreon.com/NHJU, where you can join for as low as $2 a month, and we could do so much with just $2. We are a grassroots community organization, and every contribution goes miles with what we are aimed at doing, which is bringing jazz music in all of its facets to New Haven, Connecticut, and hopefully beyond. Hey guys, so like I said at the top of the segment, this is our very first episode of Mr. Millennial's Revenge, which I hope will become a new podcast. We'll see. With the era of COVID, we're just trying new projects. But this is something I've always wanted to do. I've always thought that if we had a podcast or something similar, we could kind of expand the range, if you will, of the underground, which kind of goes against its name, right? So how can you be underground but want to be above ground? Who knows? The duality of life, I suppose. So anyway, I'm learning how to do this by the, seat of my pants. Is that how the expression goes? Like right now, I'm just talking with, feels like to myself, but I'm not, and it's very strange. So, like the era we live in, we just got to dive right in and adapt and figure it out. So, anyway, guys, RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, man, I hate to start the podcast on, such a sad note, but you have to acknowledge these fighters of equality, man. You have to take a minute to, fucking just take another hit from the year 2020. I mean, that's all it is. I mean, we are literally Rocky in the first one for sure. If you recall Rocky 1, he just takes a beating, right? But what happens at the end? He doesn't win, but he gets through it, and he comes out better for it, and then he becomes the Rocky Balboa we know, right? But in that first movie, he just takes a fucking beating. And that's us. That's us this year. The year of 2020 is Apollo fucking Creed just fucking punching the shit out of us left and right. And Ruth Bader Ginsburg's death is just another fucking left hook that we didn't see coming because our eyes are swollen shut from all the hits we took from this year in total. So, rest in power to the great Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, a champion of equality. So yeah, guys, episode 1. I thought I would riff a little bit, on my own, and then have some guests join me on this week's episode. So, why did I start Mr. Millennial's Revenge? Well, I always thought, as I said at the beginning of the segment, I just always thought that the underground needed a podcast, and I didn't realize that I was going to be the one taking it over. But this is how things happen sometimes. So I'm hoping that we're going to have some regulars on the show that, maybe become fan favorites or something. Who knows? I mean, we're all going to know each other. If you're listening to this podcast, you probably know me. You probably know 99% of the people that are going to be on it. And that's kind of first off, that's fine. And that's kind of the point. It's about community. So you want to hear from those in our community. And, I know it's dedicated to New Haven, but like Connecticut's a small and mighty state. So like, it won't be that bad. I'll branch out past the borders of our city, and we'll hear from musicians and artists from all over the state, and hopefully line up some really nice special guests as the show grows. So the era of COVID-19 has certainly changed the dynamic of the music and the dynamic of how we take gigs for granted. March 8th was my last gig, and I remember vividly, because we always remember these days like this. I remember vividly like not being able to pick a tune on the gig, and I was playing with Brian Sudo, that fantastic guitarist, and it was one of those gigs where, because it was a brunch gig, so like we're kind of tired, we're taking advantage of the fact that they give us coffee, and it was just like what tune should be next? I don't know. You call something. I played that yesterday. All that stuff. Man, I wrote this as a post a few months ago. Call any fucking tune you want. I will play it. I will play it in whatever fucking psycho key you want to play it in. Even if I struggle through it, call anything. Call a bebop tune in, a half step down just to fuck with my brain, right? I'll do it. Which sounds kind of whorish, right? Because like, why are we so desperate like that? Why are we so willing to be that flexible? That's because COVID took away what makes me, or makes you, or just makes the music exist, right? It took away the ability to play music with people. And I think a lot of us, even those of us, like I feel like I knew how important it was to play with other people. I needed it. It was, I joke, it's what keeps me from doing drugs. But the fact that we couldn't, you know what I mean? The fact that we couldn't made it so much worse. It was just the first of many blows. And remember what I was saying about like we're Rocky and up against Apollo Creed. Like that was the first round. That was the first, second, third, fourth round. Where you just couldn't hang with people because of the times. And I applaud everyone who tried to get around the system. That's what I was calling. The Zoom concerts and stuff. It was like, oh, okay, yeah, you're fighting the power in kind of a way. I dig that. We all took our time to learn these platforms so that we could do something similar. So, it happened. And I'm really excited to see that the spirit of the music is like really, it's still there because, Smalls has been presenting concerts pretty much regularly since the summer started, right? I've been watching a few of them. And it's funny, too, like the first gig I had back since the shutdown, man, so rusty. It's amazing how just a couple of months and it's just hard to lock in and, and things that came more natural are a little more struggling. And I was talking to Jeremy Pelt a few weeks ago, and we were talking about that, and he was saying even at Smalls with Joe Farnsworth, like him in the band, I think it was Peter Washington on bass and Anthony Wanzi on piano. He was like, man, he said the same thing to me. Like I was struggling, like I just didn't, things were just not lining up the way they should, and it's almost like we have to, start from scratch in a lot of ways, and that's fine. Maybe it needed a little rebirth. I think we just we realized what was truly important to us. I remember like getting into it all the time at Three Sheets. I would always say, you kids, you have no idea. When I graduated from school, man, the recession hit and there were no gigs, and if there was a gig, you're lucky if they paid you anything other than food. I know some of my very first gigs were at what was the pizza place in Bridgeport? Bohemian? No, Bohemian Pizza was up in Litchfield. What's the one in Bridgeport? Somebody call in. They're also in New York. Two Boots. That's what it is. Two Boots. I remember some of my first gigs. When when you still had to look in the newspaper to find out what places had music. Not every place had a website. Facebook was too brand new to do any promoting there. And you got paid in a large pizza, and one of my very first bands, I know Kasiba was on Fender Rhodes because he's my boy. And I want to say it was Kenny Owens on drums and maybe Ian Tate on bass. And we probably played for like 8 hours, right? Probably played from, 9 to 5. And they paid us in a pitcher of soda and pizza. And everyone was like, oh, the economy, we can't afford to pay the band. And, being so hungry and so willing to play, I was like, fine, I'll do it, Man, I think at least we got to play in a place, I mean, there were people there, there was an audience, there were, patrons, ears to listen, and musicians not socially distancing while they were on the stage. So COVID sucks that much more because you can't even get your pizza and pitcher of soda because you can't even play inside. So the gigs that are happening outside under tents and things like that, that's super cool. I think that's great. We did the Mind the Hang series, and we did that over the summer, and it's not gone away. We're just kind of taking a break because everyone needs to text message Alec Rice right now and thank him for all of his devotion. He was the mastermind behind the production. So go support Alec. Go listen to some of his tracks. He's, we know that he's a great vibraphone player. He's a great producer, and he's really putting out some awesome stuff. So, the least I can do is give him a shout out and, go give him a text message. Go give him a call and say, yo, thanks for everything you did, because I think it really helped a lot, just getting something out there. And that reminds me, that was completely supported by Patreon. I know people are tired of me saying it, but I'm going to say it over and over and over again. But most of our patrons are $2 people, $5 people. Man, without them, the Mind the Hang series would not have happened. So it's something to consider. You don't even notice the money's gone, and you're helping putting on shows. And so there will always be a section of the podcast where I try to get your money. So we're past that. So I'm going to keep moving on. The only thing that's kind of troubling me about the outdoor concerts and stuff is, personally, I'm not ready to jam yet. Some people have said when's the jam coming back? Or let's do a jam outside. I don't know, man. My friend's father-in-law died 2 nights ago from COVID. His whole family got it. They don't know how they got it. They contact traced everyone they knew that they came in contact with. All those people came back negative. And they have a family member dead now. So I just, I'm not into it right now. I'm not feeling comfortable jamming. And it's not that I don't love all of you. If you were at the Three Sheets Jam leading up to the shutdown, that we were packed like sardines. And I love each and every one of you, but we just don't know. And we got to be safe. So I know I've seen a couple of jam sessions being posted online. Just please fucking wear a mask. Still stay distant. I think it's risky. Personally, I think it's risky. But I don't want to tell anyone what to do, but just be safe. Don't be a fucking asshole. So COVID, jazz, we had the last Mind the Hang concert was when we were supposed to have our jazz festival. Remember that? Festivals. We were going to have another full week of venues booked and acts booked. If you remember last year, we had Ari Honig play. The year before that, when I was still working with another organization, we got Nate Smith with Adam Rogers. We got George Coleman. I mean, Kelly Green. You know, we were ready. It drives me nuts, man. The underground got chopped at the knees because we started February of 19. By June of 19, we had put on a festival. That's insane. Like, if you have no experience in putting on festivals or putting on concerts, that's insane because there are so many logistics that go into it. You don't even realize it. And every time something catastrophic happens, I hate to keep bringing up bad stuff, but anytime there's like a catastrophe, it alters how you can put on these events. You know, a couple of years ago, we wanted to put on a big block party. We wanted to block off part of College Street, right? And because putting on a festival on the Green is so much money. And it's not that I don't love the Green. It's just like you have no idea the money that you have to raise to get just a big tent in a stage. Not even to mention all the things that go into it after that, but just the tent and the stage. It's insane. So we were going to block off College Street from Chapel to Crown, so right in front of the Schubert, basically. Leading up to that, you had the Las Vegas shooting, and so after the Las Vegas shooting, you have to pay cops to walk the floors of buildings to make sure nobody breaks out a window and opens fire. You know, again, why can't we have anything fun? You know, but you know, regardless, in all honesty, I am so proud of everyone that I know who's in the arts because you have shown nothing but dignity and resilience in this time. And we will get through this. One day we will talk about this the way I talked about the recession and the pizza and the pitcher of soda. We will get through this. And that first jam session that we have in person in a building is going to be one of the greatest nights of our lives. So keep that in mind. And with that said, please, 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 please support the businesses that support us. 3 Sheets, Out to Les Florian, Mr. Crab, Cafe 9. Who am I missing? If I'm missing you, it's just because I didn't write this down. Go support those businesses. 3 Sheets has been selling food this whole time. Their patio's open. Go buy dinner there tonight or lunch tomorrow. Out to Les Florian has a new patio out. I'm playing brunch tomorrow, Sunday. Go. You know, don't even go for the music. I'll be there with Brian again. Don't go for us. Go to support that business that actually loves what we do. You know, we had a Thursday night series because they loved what we did. All right, Cafe 9, which is a staple of New Haven, Connecticut. You can't even remotely ignore it. Go drop a tip at their virtual tip jar. They're starting to have shows outside it looks like, in their parking lot there. Just go support these places. And we'll come out stronger. And all the music everybody's been writing, you know, yours truly included, because there's been nothing but, composing on Logic, Ableton, and GarageBand. You know, it took me forever to get my my mic because they were back ordered because everyone's buying them. You know, we're going to have a showcase of all the original music that was made in the summer of COVID. So I'm going to end this section and, yeah, stick around. All right, guys, now is my first interview. I'm super excited. So I decided to have on my good buddy, the guitarist, composer, Dan Liparini. And we talk about his new album, Tessellations, that just came out last Friday in full. And let's get to that great conversation. All right, and thank you for joining us. So this is the very first interview on the new podcast And I have with me one of my good buddies. This is guitarist, composer, educator, and another handsomely short man, Dan Liparini. So, Dan, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
So, you're the first guest, and do you feel like you have to set a precedent?
Yeah, we're I'm glad to be here. I think, we're going like the singular wireless sign. We're just gonna slowly go up height wise, right?
Yeah.
Good, reasonable choice to start with.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad it's a friend. I'm glad it's someone I've known a while because it kind of takes the nerve, lets the nerves relax a little bit and remind myself not to take this too seriously. But this was kind of influenced by our buddy Sean Clapsis's podcast called the I believe it was called the Sean Cast podcast. Did you happen to join Sean on that at all?
I definitely listened. I was a frequent or a listener. Never appeared.
Yeah, he was definitely someone that I reached out to when I was getting this together because I was like, because I did it with him once and it seemed like a really casual setup. So I was like, oh, that's the way I want to do it. I don't want to buy any more gear. It took forever to get the gear I have now. I was saying in the monologue that it took forever to get this microphone because everybody is buying from Guitar Center and Sweetwater and specialty shops and all that stuff. So I'm really trying to keep it simple just to keep my own sanity.
Yeah, I bought $10,000 worth of gear in preparation for this podcast.
Yeah, that's a new guitar, right?
This is a whole. I bought a studio too. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually bought a whole new outfit. I got new sneakers on, and actually, this is my new house. I bought a house to prepare.
Yeah.
For this. Yeah, it was like, okay, podcasts obviously need a room to to broadcast from. So everything's coming to fruition now.
Yeah, congrats on the house. That's very exciting, and the real, a very real thing that you purchased, unlike the things we just talked about.
Yeah, actually, yeah, we should clarify that I did really buy a house, and we did not spend all our money on gear, but we would if we
That IRS
did. You
loud and clearly.
make your check? Because I've been seeing there's a couple of people who did not get their stimulus, and if you don't get your Donald bucks, like I wonder why that's happening. Like I've seen a couple of people say they still haven't gotten their loot. Did you or did you
I
get
got it. Yeah, I got the one check back.
right? Well, yeah, I mean it's the least they can do for having to live in this post-apocalyptic world.
It's yeah, it was you know, it's something.
Well, yeah, Dan. I mean, we were talking before we started. Like, you and I have known each other for a long time now. Like, I don't know. We're probably going on like 10 years of knowing each other. I'd say. I met you through Mike Dick, our beloved drumming friend, and he's now in New Jersey, raising a family. But he went to Hart with you, and that's how I met you. And I mean, you were working pretty steadily before quarantine. So, you know, how has it affected your life or your perspective? Like, what are you thinking about these days?
Oh, well, definitely affected me in lots of ways, and definitely thinking about lots of things. I mean, obviously, there was no uh, live performances of any kind for quite a few months, and uh, everything is about to get cold again. So it's the few things that have been able to cobble together over the last really like the last 2 or 3 months uh, are probably not going to be around and for much longer. So um, yeah, I like to be hopeful, but there's everything dried up and very quickly, and I don't really know what the future is going to hold. So you know, still teaching some lessons, and I was very fortunate to do a live stream through the Hartford Jazz Society, which they're doing monthly through the end of the year. I did that last week, and
That was the first one, right? Their first one.
That was the first of the fall series, I guess, if we're, drawing a line, the
Well,
summertime one.
it's
For the
January,
fall.
February, quarantine,
Yeah,
December,
exactly. Yeah. So
Uh,
yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, do you remember exactly when your last gig was before all this happened? Like, like sometimes I don't know. It's just like, we're all going to know where we were when, we got sent home basically. But I feel like for musicians, it's like, do you have a gig? Do you know like the last gig you played before all this stuff happened?
Yeah, I actually think the last gig I played was at the Blake Hotel, and I think our buddy Braden and I were doing it. I think it was March 17th. Let me see. I'm gonna look right now.
Was
No, it
it
was
March
15th.
8th?
It was the 15th.
15th. Okay.
And we showed up and they thought it was canceled, and then they found out that it wasn't actually canceled. And so we played, and it was very weird. And then
Was there anybody there?
yeah, there were a few people there. It was yeah, and nobody was wearing masks or anything, obviously.
Sure. Sure. I mean, yeah, I mean, I've been saying that to a couple of people. Like my last gig was March 8th. It was at Florian. So the Sunday before. And I got sent home from school on the 12th. It's the same night I adopted my cat. So it's on, that's how I can remember that. But yeah, it's like it's kind of crazy like that you'll remember you'll remember where you were when the scene changed. And and I asked because like you and I both work a lot, and it is totally upended our lives and all the lives of the people we know. And was there a moment where you kind of just like, all right, maybe if I explain my answer, it'll help me ask the question. Like, I remember the moment I became so desperate to play with other people that I had written online, you can call any tune in any key and I will be so grateful to play it. Did you have a moment like that where you were just like dying for some, interaction musically?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that there was uh like real bargaining that I was able to do with it, because yeah, I mean, so I think there was, pretty quickly I miss playing with people.
Yeah.
You kind of realize how often you get to do it, even if it's not always in the most ideal of conditions, when you don't get to do it for a while. And yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, you realize that our coworkers are our friends, and you're not even seeing them, And it's funny because over the summer, just out of the blue, I would talk to somebody that I didn't really, I hadn't talked to in months, and it just felt so reassuring to hear their voice because it's like this is so crazy, man. Like this whole thing is nuts, and like yeah, you there's been some gigs people are playing, but it's like yeah, like I feel like there's this shadow that's on the horizon, and it consists of everybody having to stay inside again. And so it's like, let me play as much as I can while I can before that happens, because like, I try to be optimistic, but there seems to be no end in sight, and it's just nuts.
Yeah, I definitely feel the shadow looming as well, and not looking forward to the very likely outcome, which is us back in our houses for
Yeah.
another stretch of time. But yeah, I mean, feels pessimistic to be talking that way, but it also feels realistic with the amount that anybody is doing. But,
Yeah, well, I feel like if we're being more realistic, we can kind of handle it a little bit better. I don't know. I mean, for me, talking about it definitely helps. I don't know about you or some other people, but I think I'm at the point now where it's like I kind of need to just say what's been bottling up like for the last like 7 months. But yeah, I mean, let's hope that things turn around and we can get back to something that's semi-normal. I was saying like I appreciate everybody that did what they did, whether it was stream a concert from their house or uh, was able to perform in some way that got attention, because it's been tough, man. So but anyway, I don't want to like spend the whole night just lamenting here. So it's so good. It really is really It's really good to have you on. I think when we played together at the Mind the Hang series, that was the first time we had seen each other in a few months, and I remember seeing you and seeing the other guys like that. That made the night. Just knowing everybody was there. And but you've been busy in that time, like we all know. I like to think that right now the majority of, if anyone listens, is friends with us and are aware of your new record, Tessellations.
That's right.
Yeah. And so tell us about that, and let's shed some light on this new record that you put out. I was listening to it just for the like third or fourth time this afternoon because I wanted to make sure I was prepared because I'm new at this. I didn't want to sound like an asshole being like, oh, yeah, it was great, man. I didn't want to give you a blanketed yeah, man. So tell us about the record.
Absolutely. I'm glad you brushed up on it because I'm going to have a lot of really specific questions for you about it.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, we recorded it last August with our good friend Eric Hallenbeck and Matt Dwanzik and Jen Allen on drums, bass, and piano, respectively, and 6 original tunes of mine that were sort of written in the last 3 years or so. Some of them are a little newer, and some of them are a little older, and they all kind of have they weren't the only tunes I wrote, but they were the ones that I felt like fit together in the best. They had a lot of things in common. They sort of felt like a group of songs that could be called an album to me. But
Well, they were the ones that felt like, yeah, they could be an album.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and they're my favorite ones to play and play over and play with this particular group. And yeah, so we went to Ghost Hit Recording up in West Springfield last August, and we laid them down in 2 days. And album has just been released officially on last Friday, a few days ago, through Next Level, which is an imprint of Outside In Music. And it was a lot of fun working with those guys, and I sat down and talked to Alan from the label about a few weeks ago about some of the same stuff. So it's all been fresh in my mind, but it's been really cool. I'm super thankful to everyone who's supported it, has had nice words to say about it, and I'm looking forward to the days when we can get out and play some shows again.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely deserve like a CD release, and when you announced it, I said, save me a copy, man. And I still got it. It's over there on the player. And, you know, it's, man, like I want to talk to you and ask you about your influences because I got some vibes off of this record that I don't know if I'm just way off, and I would love to hear your perspective a little more on it for sure, because we've worked together uh, on many instances, but we've always just played for the most part standards and stuff. So I I got an like I feel like at this point I could recognize your playing over a standard. This album is exciting because we get to finally hear your compositional chops and style and approach and in how you play those tunes. But forgive me for saying, but like I got like a little bit of a Bill Frisell vibe to it. Maybe not as twangy, but like that was one of the first vibes I got. Are you gonna punch me in the face next time you see me? Are you not to compare you, but like guitarists are probably that's probably the instrument I'm probably the most novice at. My favorites are usually based on the fact that they've played with horn players. Being a horn player. So let's start right there. Like, am I off base, or did I get a little lucky?
Yeah, well, I always have loved Bill Frisell for a while. Any sort of guitar player with a relation to Jim Hall, is is I tend to like a lot of those players, which is a lot of players.
Mhm.
But yeah, Bill was and is has been a favorite of mine for a while, and as well as Jim, obviously. No promises about punching you in the face, though. You can see how it
Yeah.
goes.
Yeah, I might owe you money. It might be totally unrelated. Yeah, it's funny that you bring up Jim Hall. I didn't know the connect. I honestly I didn't know the connection there. And I was just shedding over God Bless the Child the other night, and I queued up Sonny Rollins' The Bridge because I think that's the perfect rendition of that tune, and it was the first time I had listened to it in a while, and it really moved me. It really did. And I was, trying to figure out Jim's solo there, and it just like it just stopped me in my tracks because I don't know. Like I've always enjoyed Jim Hall, but I never really just paused. Felt like the air in the room stopped, and really enjoyed that playing. So that's that. How am I relating this to that connection to Bill Frisell, and then both of them being inspirations to you is really fascinating to hear, and that's really cool. Sometimes with guitar led albums, you know, it's it's strange to me only in the sense that it's such a different instrument, so I never know, like, with trumpet players. We've got our schools, we've got our camps, there'll be like the Freddie camp, there's the Miles camp, and then you got like the lead players who only want to talk about Maynard Ferguson. So when it comes to guitar, it's like I don't know, where everybody stands, but I guess Jim Hall would be a corner, right?
Sure, definitely. Father of modern jazz guitar. Him and and in a way, a lot of people have similar camps. I think that people like Peter Bernstein. You can hear a lot from both of those schools of thought, and I think that a lot of people, Pat Metheny, uh, loads of different players from different generations were influenced by both of those guys, and you know I think that both of those people, along with Bill, sort of marry that sound. Bill, of course, goes his own way with it. I think that, that whole generation of the really well-known players immediately following Jim, like Schofield as well. They all got a lot from him. And, up until the end of his life, he still hung out with loads and loads of guitar players. I know he hung out with Julian Lodge among, many, many others. And, all played a big role in a lot of their, careers as well.
Yeah, Julian, we've talked about him, right? Like he's a favorite of yours as well.
Yeah. Also love his playing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Aside from the obvious, was there anything specific you were looking for in the personnel? So, like, did you have these players in mind, or was it also just, you know, you knew that, you knew who they were from playing with them over the years? Like we've known Eric for God knows how long. You know what kind of drummer you're going to get when you ask Eric on to play on this bandstand. Same thing with Dwanzik, right? It was Dwanzik. You know, I'm not as familiar with Jen, but I'm sure she has her characteristics in her playing and in her style. I know you guys have been playing together for a long time. So was the band kind of picked like with in mind once you picked the tunes, or did you pick the band then pick the tunes? What was the process there?
Yeah, it was a little bit of both. I mean, we had some gigs together, all together, playing this music or some version of this music, several times before making the record. But um, I don't think that Eric and Jen had played together, maybe at all. But if they had, just a little bit before we actually started gigging with these tunes. But yeah, and I've known Eric and Dwanzik for a while. I've known Jen for a while. Dwanzik was one of the first people I met when I came to Hart. We were the same year at the Hart School, and
Oh,
yeah. So I mean, I've been playing these songs with him for longer than anybody, and he heard my stuff back. We played each other's music back at the Hart School, and And Eric, I've also been playing with since we were both there. And he's definitely a more recent addition to the, regular group than Dwanzik. And yeah, and I think Jen is not only a fantastic piano player, but she's great at playing with guitar players. So I always enjoy playing with her for that reason. I think that, it's easy to exist along, a piano player that plays that thoughtfully and intentionally. And it's not just, seeing where you can sneak in there like at a jam session.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thoughtfully is a great word for it because you guys definitely complement each other, and I think you know, a lot of our first experiences with multi-chordal players in one group is when you're in college and school, and it's kind of just out of the perspective that students need groups. I know some of the combos I was in when I was in college. There would be a pianist. There would also be two horn players and two guitarists, and there was always like, okay, who's pretending to be a guitarist and who's pretending to be a horn player on this tune, and there was always this awkwardness that you could just, aside from being 19, 20 years old, in addition to that, this other awkwardness of being able to play with these instruments that could play, not only more than one note at a time, but theoretically all the time, and so I think that it's something to be said when you have these great sounding bands that have piano and guitar or guitar and guitar, or one of my favorite records that comes to mind is Search for the New Land by Lee Morgan, which has Grant Green and Herbie on it. And to use your word, thoughtful playing, it's there. It's awesome to see the interaction. So I definitely noticed it on this record. And I guess I'll bring up my favorite track is Eggcorn. That's the yeah, I pulled up Spotify to make sure I didn't lose any titles. But yeah, it's your third listen to song on Spotify, which is pretty cool. It's third song of the album. I noticed that Tesla, the title track is at the top. So I don't know, maybe people are digging the tune that's named after the record, or the listening to the tune that the record's named after. Maybe
Sure.
gets
That
it
was
right.
single too.
Right, of course, yeah, of course. So,
Longer than
but
anything else.
yeah, I really dug Acorn and I'm sorry, I'm all over Spotify, and Convergence. I really like those two. I would play them on the show, but as we were talking about before we started, I got flagged by YouTube when I uploaded my promo because I used my own song as the show's theme music, and Google said I was already infringing on Nick DiMaria.
Who says that chivalry is dead?
Yeah,
Google.
yeah. So I don't want to get flagged twice in one episode, and it's only the first episode. So, but yeah, Dan. I mean, this record is great. I hope you are getting. I hope you're getting a lot of the attention you deserve, man. It's always a pleasure to play with you. I feel like you're one of the most sincere musicians that I've worked with in the 15 years I've been doing this, and you're one of the guy. You're a guy who I know what I'm getting. When I call you for the gig, I know I'm getting someone who's not only just a sweet guy and friendly and funny, but like fucking solid on the instrument and really tasteful player. So I'm really happy to see this record come out. And you know what? And I think because of the time period we're in, it added something good because I feel like 2020 is nothing but taking a fucking punch in the face every other day. So it's a nice addition and a nice change of pace to listen to this record. So seriously, man, I mean, great job, great job.
Thank you, man. Much appreciated. Very glad to be finally releasing some music in the year where everybody is releasing music.
Right? Yeah, I know. It's funny, man, because like I try not. I'm sure everybody notices, but it's like I always like delete the post after I make like the tongue-in-cheek remark about, hey, I'd release a track, but it would just get swallowed up in the ocean of tracks being released just in this one day. but you know, it's just you got to roll with it. And you know, I mean, I'm so excited that so many people have been putting out music. I know for a while, you know, not to harp on the negative stuff, but I know for a while, you know, people, I would catch up with musicians, and they would just talk about how unmotivated they were. They were playing more video games than they normally would. I mean, I took up Magic the Gathering because there was just nothing else to do and you had to keep your sanity. And it, you know, I was trying to say like, hey man, if the muse isn't there, if the inspiration isn't there, then what are you going to do? You can't force it out because everyone else is doing it. But those musicians who have put out stuff, it's been a breath of fresh air. I think we can all agree, especially, you know, your record came out on Friday and then we had the death of our RBG, and it's just like, okay, this is this record might get me through this additional hit that I took, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, not a great day to share. But you know, I am, in all seriousness, very happy to be putting out music. You know, in general, being able to put out music, and already looking forward to the next time. So, you know,
Awesome.
all the terrible stuff that, you know, is happening, and you know, it's the thing, you know, that's what I've been getting through it because I've been able to listen to other people's music. So I appreciate you saying that, and yeah, not gonna give it up yet.
No, definitely not. Well, I mean, you know, I mean, it's corny to say, but we'll all get through this, and you know, we'll have a shitload of tunes to play when we're on it, you know, when we're hanging out with each other, you know. And you know, when I was saying in the monologue that like the first jam session we have back when we can, it's going to be great, and we should just, you know, see if we could book it for 6 hours to just make up for all the time we lost, you know. But do you have it? I mean, you know, even though it's limited, are there any more performances coming up with the band or yourself that we could check out?
Um, Not really. I think I do have some gigs coming up, mostly private gigs, and probably forgetting something. Maybe will offend somebody, but no, I think that I would say, you know, please go watch the Hartford Jazz Society live stream. I'm going to be releasing some videos with the band in the next couple of months, several months. We'll see how long I can stretch it. I also had another pre-recorded concert that I did back in August with Dwanzik and Eric, and
Is that the one at Parkville, or was that also with the other band?
that was at Parkville. And that one's already up on YouTube, and it'll be, you know, released in smaller pieces eventually. And so I think I'm going to release a few tracks from that. Going to release a few tracks that we did next door to Parkville Sounds, which you just mentioned, which is the dance collective
Oh, okay.
with Jen, Eric, Dwanzik, and we'll see what else happens in the meantime. I'm not really sure. Yeah, I don't think that I'm forgetting anything.
Well, if you are, we blanket apology. You know, it's just because you know,
So used to not having.
well, we're two guys who like know each other socially, and we're attempting to sound very very sincere and professional on a podcast. You know, I'm sure that who if we've missed anyone, they'll forgive us.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So, but I would say go check out those things that are already out there. I have a few Instagram TV videos that I've made with a good friend of mine named Charlie Weber, which is new music, newer than the album. So I would say that those are things that I'm proud of that I recorded at my home. So I'd say go check those out as well. Please go check out the record and buy it. Yeah. So you were just saying that it was we you were looking at the streaming. What are we up to? Have we hit 1 million plays yet?
Oh shit, man! I mean, you might be making a solid buck soon. You've got, I mean, if we're gonna brag here, you got a solid 58 monthly listeners, which ain't too shabby.
That is more than I actually don't have Spotify, so I actually didn't know that.
Oh, really? Wow, you're like, it's like, that's cool, man. I always feel bad. You know,
No.
I I was I, I I was working out this morning and I listened to the new Black Art Jazz Collective record, and I posted one of the tracks I was listening to, and Jeremy Pelt, gave me the like, and I felt bad because I was like, I want him to know that I also own the album. It's just like Spotify just makes things convenient, in the accessibility thing. It's Spotify is one of those things that as time goes on, I'm more embarrassed to admit that I have because of all the spotlight of the CEO and the payouts and
Yeah. Well, I
how
just have Apple Music instead, which is not any better than Spotify. Just,
yeah. Well, there's something to be said. Like I started buying more on Bandcamp, and I just felt so much better about it. I bought recently a Peter Evans album, and there was just something about, even though it was digital, and it's basically, Bandcamp has got a great app now where you can play the music you buy. You can also download it, and have it, in your own player. But there was just something less douchey, I guess, or self-destructive, I guess, because it's like I know Spotify sucks, but a lot of times I do own the record, and I feel like I'm some kind of Spotify apologist where I want the artist to know, oh, no, I bought it. It's just it was just more convenient to listen to it on Spotify at the time.
oh yeah. I mean, it's also like he doesn't get any additional money for you listening to the actual CD. He actually does get actually a little tiny bit more out of you listening to it on Spotify. So yeah, buying it and then listening to it on Spotify, that's just a bonus.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I try to try to support the artist as much as I can. I saw that Joe Farnsworth has a new album out with Wynton Marsalis, one of the Smoke Session albums, and what a treat. But of course, like, I'll buy it, but I listen to it on Spotify. But if Joe Farnsworth happens to be listening, or even worse, if Wynton Marsalis gets word that I listened to the record on Spotify before I bought it, I promise you, Mr. Marsalis, that I will purchase it.
Yeah, actually, this kind of brings up something I was thinking about recently. I'm not going to actually say what it is or whose record it is, but it'll probably give it away if anybody has any idea what I'm talking about. But there's a record label that that does subscription only releases, and I think they exclusively release it on vinyl, and you get a subscription for just that record label for that year, and
Huh.
you pay X amount of money, and it's not a little bit of money. And you get all of the records, which is awesome. I just don't know, like, 75% of the artists on the release. Like I got really excited about this one record that just came out, and it's only available on this record label, and I have to buy all. It's $400. This is totally going to give it away if anyone has.
I mean, yeah, I mean, they should give you a kickback.
But there's literally nothing, nowhere you could even hear it before it's released. So like I would take that gamble on one record, but on 12, I don't know.
It's funny how, we're just coming full circle, man, because that sounds like what was that CD club? BMG? It was like, like many kids in middle school in the mid 90s, a friend of mine told me that if I signed up, I think it was called BMG. You set up, you pay $1, and then they send you like 12 CDs, and then you were always told, but then immediately cancel, because then you don't have to pay for the CDs they sent you,
Oh
which
yeah,
is part
had this.
BMG, right? Yeah, and I remember falling for it, doing it, and my parents being so fucking pissed because I owed, like, it was like something like $75 in CDs. And it was music that they did not approve of. So not only did I, like, sign up for this commitment thing like so many other kids, it was like um the fact that there was no like Eagles greatest hits in there, like, really ticked them off. But what you're talking about kind of reminds me of that. It's like, you buy the whole bundle,
Right.
and whatever works, man. I mean, you know,
I think that's really cool for the record. I think it's cool that you can't it's exclusive. You can't get it anywhere else. Like, it's not available. You can't just buy it digitally. But also at the same time, I don't have $400 to gamble with about. I don't know if I'm going to like all of it.
Right. Well, who does? You know, unless we're getting more Donnie dollars, you know. I mean, there's nothing else. I guess if we ever got another stimulus check, I think just to stick it to Donald Trump, I would make sure that I bought it for Black artists or artists of color, just to not only support the arts, which you know he doesn't give a shit about, but to also have a little stab in the side there for you know, the right causes.
He's going to feel it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he does. You know, when he's tweeting on the toilet. I only let's see, my political rant only went a couple of minutes in the monologue, so I'm gonna keep it I'm gonna keep it uh, you know, keep it clean here, I guess. But there was to my credit, there was a legit Trump rally on my town's green on Friday. Yeah, yeah. So it was like, you know, I was riled up when I recorded. So, but
Yeah, I
yeah,
get riled up driving by the same sides that I drive by every day, so I can't blame you there.
yeah, yeah. There were people with like the blue flag, the Trump flag, and the flag, the Trump flag that okay, all right, because obviously I'm breaking my own rules here. The Trump flag that makes no sense to me is the one that says "No more bullshit." Now, the people who fly that flag, are they aware that Trump's been president for 4 years? Like, what bullshit are they talking about? Their own? Because, again, like, we are just living in the tesseract with them. Like, it is interdimensional trolling where they don't even realize they're trolling themselves sometimes. It's just fascinating. Like, I don't get it. Why would you say that? No more bullshit. You'd say, like, let the good times keep rolling. Or I guess as they put it, keep America great. What the fuck? Like, no more bullshit? That is the stupidest thing they could have said. On top of everything else stupid that they say, but
Easy.
I
Just,
digress. You know, I'm alienating 50% of the audience here on episode 1, but what are you gonna do?
that's a huge amount, way more than I thought your audience would have.
Well, I mean, put it this way: my mom's gonna listen, my wife's gonna listen. Um,
Trump supporters.
they're not. Oh God, no, no, no. But you know, I'm trying to think of like
Just kidding.
who's gonna listen in total. Divide that by half. But I don't even think. Yeah, I mean, I don't even think that many people will listen to delegate to such high statistics. Yeah, you know. So, but anyway, Dan, I'm not going to keep you on forever because I really appreciate your time and doing this. And is there anything I missed? Anything you want to add?
I thought we were doing this until the next podcast comes out. They just go back
The
to back.
next podcast? Yeah, I don't. You know, it's funny. It's like I was I was outside today, and I was like, oh no, do I have a schedule I have to keep if I release this on this certain day? Or, you know, it's like I'm already overthinking all of this, and I don't want to do that because that would take away the point of just having fun talking to my buddies, basically. But yeah, Tessellations by Dan Liparini, and give us all the social media before we get off. So where do we find you?
Here we go. DanLiparini.com. Instagram / Dan Liparini, I think. You know, I'm probably the Dan Liparini on Instagram with a guitar.
Well, you know what? It's funny that you know. Don't make that joke because I believe I've told you there is another Nick DiMaria who plays trumpet.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure I know most of the Dan Liparinis that are around in the world.
So
Um,
yeah, this other Nick and we made an agreement that he'll go by Nicholas and I go by Nick. And I tell people I'm the one with the beard because we're both playing trumpet, and each of us have been tagged in gigs meant for the other person. So, but that's good if you're the only Dan playing guitar.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I got the Dan Liparini handle on Instagram, so that's definitely me. No Daniels, no underscores or anything like that. Just plain old Dan Liparini. And then YouTube. Why not? I got videos. I like videos, so I'm also Dan Liparini on YouTube. And
You open up guitars. Is that what your YouTube channel is? Just like
What is it?
make stuff up, or do you have a gimmick, or is it just playing guitar?
Yeah, no, it's just literally videos of music. There's
Just setting the record straight, you know.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, this was a lot of fun, Dan. I appreciate you being on the very first episode of Mr. Millennial's Revenge, and definitely a podcast for all the snowflakes out there. And no, It's been an absolute pleasure, man. And I hope these listens online go higher and higher, and people check out the record. So, thanks a lot.
Please keep me posted. I'll have to get Spotify otherwise, but just keep me posted on the monthly.
Yeah. Well, what I'll do is every Monday I'll send you a counter.
Perfect. Well, thanks for having me in all seriousness, man. Really great talking to you. And yeah, hopefully see you soon.
All right. Thanks, man.
See ya.
So that's it, guys. That's episode 1 in the bag. And I really appreciate it if you checked out the podcast. And thanks to Dan for sitting down with me. And yeah, until next time, this was Mr. Millennial's Revenge with Nick DiMaria. Thanks so much.